Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope you're all having a good week so far. Things have been okay here. I mean, the weather's been nice and all that. Nothing really much to say. However, this morning when I woke up and I looked at the news, I saw a story there that ran chills up my back. And oddly, this story does not seem to be making the headlines in the United States, and I suppose, considering the weight of this story, it probably would be something not what Trump would want to have leaked out. So I got this, saw this thing on Vantage News, which is a foreign news outlet. What I'm going to do is, I don't know if I can actually put this on here. Okay, so I'm just going to play the audio of it, but, let's see, there's the YouTube video here. So I'm going to play it, and I'm going to try to turn up the volume and see, if you can hear it, because I just, all right, let's play, and I want you to listen.
And staying with the war in Iran, President Donald Trump is looking to escalate hostilities. The U.S. Air Force has dispatched one of its most feared bombers, nicknamed the Bone. The B-1 Lancer is a supersonic heavy bomber. It is designed for a particular mission: to enter enemy airspace at supersonic speeds and bomb targets that are underground, like the Iranian nuclear reactors deep inside mountains. The B-1 carries a special set of bombs. For the B-1, anything that is 150 feet inside the earth is fair game. So is Trump going to bomb Iran's Pickaxe Mountain? Our next report tells you more.
The US has moved one of its deadliest bombers to West Asia. The B-1 Lancers were seen taking off from the United Kingdom and heading towards US bases in the Gulf. The Pentagon hasn't fully revealed the details of the mission, but several reports say the B-1 bombers will be used to target Iran's underground complexes, like missile tunnels and nuclear facilities. The bombers have been mobilized after US President Donald Trump threatened to bomb Iran's Pickaxe Mountain, a heavily fortified underground facility that reportedly houses Iran's most complex nuclear facility.
Do you believe that Iran has moved nuclear centrifuges into Pickaxe Mountain? And when you say we're not done yet, what is left to finish?
Well, I think that they may have. We don't have it on record, and we'll be hitting that area probably pretty soon. And there's not a thing they can do about it. Normally I wouldn't say that. If I thought they could do something about it, I would never say that. But we'll be hitting that area pretty soon, and very heavily.
If the Pickaxe Mountain is indeed the target, this will not be an ordinary bombing mission. But first, let's look at the aircraft that have been deployed. The B-1 Lancer is known by its nickname, the Bone, not because it looks like one, but for a very different reason. When written in English, the B-1 spells out as B-O-N-E, so the American pilots call it the Bone. This is a Cold War relic. It has swept wings, which means the wings fold mid-air, allowing the bomber to reach supersonic speeds. It can cruise at Mach 1. It's one of the most powerful bombers worldwide. The B-1 can drop 75,000 tons of ordnance in one mission. The aircraft has been severely modified over 4 decades. It no longer carries nuclear weapons. Instead, it specializes in destroying underground targets, including those buried under mountains, like the Iranian missile cities and nuclear facilities. The aircraft has a range of weapons, but there's one bomb that gives it the ultimate edge, the Guided Bomb Unit 72. Now, this bomb has a payload of a whopping 3 tons, or 3,000 kilograms. It's designed specifically to attack underground installations. The nose of the bomb is made of hardened steel. It can penetrate almost 150 feet underground. With the deployment of the heavy bomber, the US is sending a message to Iran that it's coming after Tehran's underground facilities. The B-1 bomber can strike multiple targets in one sortie, but can it strike Iran's most secret facility, the Pickaxe Mountain? The heavily fortified underground facility in central Iran, located near the Natanz nuclear complex. The mountain has been named Pickaxe because it's rugged and tough to penetrate, and it's made of hardened granite rock. As per US and Israeli intelligence reports, the Pickaxe Mountain houses Iran's most sophisticated nuclear facility, and Trump wants to destroy it. But there's a problem. Can the B-1 destroy the Pickaxe Mountain? The answer is probably not, but it can soften the target. The Pickaxe Mountain's facilities are nearly 300 feet underground. There's no US weapon that can reach that deep. The only way is to target with repeated bombing runs. That's why the B-1 has been called in. As per US reports, the B-1 is meant to carry out multiple strikes to soften the top of the Pickaxe Mountain before the larger bombs can be dropped by the B-2 stealth bomber. For now then, the Pentagon has not revealed the B-1 bomber's missions, but as they arrive in the region, speculation over Trump's bombing plans in Iran continue to grow. The world is watching the Pickaxe Mountain and wondering, can a bunker really be built so deep that even the world's most powerful bombers cannot reach it?
The world moves fast. Power shifts.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty much all of it there. Like I said, you could see this on YouTube. Let me see, how would you look for it? Let's see. Just type in U.S. deploys B-1 supersonic bomber for Iran's Pickaxe Mountain. That's one word, Pickaxe Mountain. Vantage on first point. Okay, just type that in, and you can watch that yourself. It's all there. All I did was just play the audio here, you know. But okay. So anyway, I woke up to that. And here's the thing. Now, I know that, you know, I was in the Air Force, so I know kind of what they're doing here. So it's, yes, they're probably sending the bombers over to loosen up the mountain, as it were. Okay, they call that softening the mountain. Okay, they're basically trying to make it easier for the bigger bomb to come in and plow down deep into the ground to get closer to the target underground. The only thing is from what I was told, you know, in the military and stuff, is that usually the bigger bomb is going to have to be something like the Moab, the mother of all bombs. Don't you remember that? Or a light nuclear bomb to go down and then detonate underground. Okay, which I would think they'd use that to, you know, because I don't even think the Moab would be able to blast too much under that, but the nuke might, depending on what kind they use. But my problem with this is if they find out that a nuke was dropped, okay, on there, that would probably create a retaliatory strike on everything using nukes of their own. If they have any, they probably can get some from Russia. You know, like I said, the two countries are allied to one another, even though Russia's, you know, fighting tooth and nail against Ukraine right now. They haven't used any of their nukes yet, so they still have some. Okay, and you know, they're liable to give Iran 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many they need, you know, to start hitting targets, American targets over there, like some of the bases they've been hitting. They might just wipe them off the map. Okay, and if that happens, then Trump, being the dingbat that he is, will retaliate full-blown nuclear, okay, which you see where this is headed. It's going to snowball until it's a big fucking thing, okay? And the thing of it is none of this would be happening if it wasn't for Israel. Today there was, I can't remember what senator, he was sitting there on the floor saying, oh, we support Trump doing this bombing and all this and that and everything. And I'm thinking, you know, you're saying this stuff because, you know, you're probably paid by the Israel lobby in Washington, okay, because these people want to see our government dancing to their tune, which Trump is currently doing. He's such a pushover. All you got to do is compliment this bastard, and he'll do anything for you. Okay, like I said, he rules like a king, and kings like to be flattered. And Trump is one of those kind of people that likes to be flattered. You want something from him, you kiss his ass, you tell him he's the greatest thing in the world and everything, and before you know it, you know, he'll give you anything. He'll give you anything. Okay. And that's kind of the way Israel, Netanyahu, they've been playing him, okay? They've been treating him all kinds of nice ways and everything, and so he starts back in Israel, walking right into their trap, which is to put the United States against Israel's enemies in a forever war, which is what's going on right now, okay? Israel's already said they're not going to negotiate with Trump, our sitting president that we have now. They're not going to talk to him. They're going to fight till he's gone. So that means, you know, there is no peace. We're going to lose more people. The Pentagon won't even tell us how many we've lost already. They're keeping that hush. Okay? The only people who know are the people who's getting their sons and daughters back in coffins. So if these people would speak out and say, you know, we can count heads that way, you know, all they got to do is report online or so, so somebody can tally numbers here, so we can find out how many troops we've lost. Because, you know, there's talk that we could be looking at a ground invasion over there, you know, sending the military to take targets in Iran by troops, which means massive casualties for a war that you know, that they didn't start. Okay, it's a war we started. It's a war we started by getting in bed with Israel. And so this is where we're headed here, folks. I mean, we're looking at a prolonged fucking war that's going to, you know, kill so many of our youth in this country. You know, and I don't see. I mean, there was a picture of one of our a 19-year-old girl who was in the army. She died, okay, and the picture was posted online, and some people from Israel were laughing about it. You know, I just like, you know, what the fuck is that? They want our help, and then they some of these people over there think that it's funny that America loses, you know, a 19-year-old girl who just started in the army, and now she's dead because she was over in one of those bases over in the Middle East here that got hit by the barrage of bombs at Iran. You know, you know, my father. Okay, look, I'm gonna say this here, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I just want to throw this out there. Okay, my father used to tell me all the time that the Jewish people are condemned people in the world because of what they did to Jesus. Okay, a guy who was one of their own. Okay, he was Jewish himself, and he spoke peace and harmony and stuff. And the Jewish religion over there at the time didn't like that. The Hebrews, I guess, they didn't like that. They didn't like him, you know, rattling the cage, as it were, because it was pissing off the Roman Empire. But Jesus wasn't really saying anything direct to Roman. He was just talking about, you know, people that, you know, try to treat people that want to oppress you with kindness and stuff. And, you know, basically a lot of the same things that Gandhi had talked about, you know, in more recent history. Okay, But the fact that you know, he was, as history describes it, was crucified and by his own people, it seemed like the ultimate betrayal, because you know, they thought of him as the Son of God, and who could not pay for that? You know, you kill God's son, you know, you're really damning yourself. And he's, you know, he said that throughout, since then, the Jewish people have always been attacked, always been persecuted, always, you know, going all the way up to the Holocaust, that these people are getting all this shit because God's paying them back. Okay, well, my father said a lot of things, okay, and a lot of shit was bullcrap and not true, okay. But oddly enough, these days, it seems like the Jewish people are doing nothing but living up to what he said. Okay, they're really pissing off not just you know, another religion, but the whole fucking world, because they are pushing this world to the brink, and they are laughing about it. Okay, or at least some of them are. I'm not going to say all of them, but you know, there's people over there that think that's funny, that they're trying to push the United States and the Middle East into a prolonged war, so that way Israel can pick up the pieces and expand its borders out. Okay? And I'm thinking, you know, this is not going to work out for them either if this starts, because if it goes nuclear, my friends, nobody's going to want the land that's lost to a nuclear bomb. Do people live near Chernobyl? How about over in Japan? I mean, what the hell was that? The name of that place, the nuclear place that melted. Does anybody live over there? No. The land is irradiated forevermore. I mean, and it's not, you just can't live there. Nothing living will last there. So, in Chernobyl, you know, like I said, that little town that was built next to that for the people that worked there at that plant, to this day, it sits there frozen from the 1980s when that shit happened. Everything was left behind there. Nobody took much of anything that they had, their belongings with them. So if you were somehow immune to irradiation, if you went into that city today, it would seem like everyone just dropped everything that they were doing and ran. Because you'll still find newspapers, you know, cups of coffee, you know, kids' toys laying around, as they were just doing stuff, and then they had to get up and go. But they were told at the time that they would be able to come back later, and of course that didn't happen. The radiation was so thick over there that there was no way. Now people have gone in and out of there just to video record stuff, but they're only allowed to stay like 30 minutes to an hour, then they gotta leave. Okay, and even then they can't take anything out of there with them because it's all irradiated. These people who lost photographs, family photographs, all that stuff is still there, but it's all contaminated and they're not allowed to take that stuff out. So people that were living there lost their whole history, their family history in most cases. Okay, now that's what Israel's going to be looking at if this goes nuclear. The lands that they want to push out into are going to be radioactive wastelands. Do they really want that? Do they really think that that's, you know, going to be to their benefit? You know, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, yeah, they're bombing over there right now on that Pixax Mountain. That's a weird name for that fucking thing. They're bombing the hell out of that so they can drop a heavier bomb on top, or more deeper into the ground, not on top, but into the ground, 300 feet if they can get to that point. And the only way they can do that is to use either, you know, several mother of all bombs, the Moabs, or just one tactical nuclear bomb to go down into the ground, you know, and detonate underground. Okay, now people say, well, the radiation will be down there. Well, it's still radiation. Okay, and it's still, you know, will seep out in lower amounts, but it'll still be irradiated. Okay, and once Iran sees that the United States is willing to cross that line, they're going to feel like, okay, then we can do that too. You want to hit us with nukes? We'll hit you back with nukes. And Trump, being the fucking idiot he is, he'll retaliate with bigger nukes. Ballistic missiles, you know, intercontinental ones, you know, launch right from our silos here. And of course, Russia ain't going to sit idle for that. That's going to open the gate, say, well, they started that first, so we can do it now. We can launch nukes now because the United States is nuking everybody else. Now we can, and nuking our allies. Now we can fight back with nukes. And then they'll start dropping them on Ukraine in the meantime as well. Okay, so you see how this is going to explode into a global war here of nukes. Okay, history was waiting for the right guy to show up in the White House to start this fucking thing. All the stories people were telling about how the end of the world is going to happen, it always has to take place with somebody that's a loose cannon in the White House who's going to do it. And we got just the guy to do it, people. Trump is the man. He's the one that the apocalypse was waiting on. Okay? And he's got the most heavily armed country in the world at his fingertips. Now, don't tell me that people like Pete Hegseth and all these other motherfuckers are going to put us and say, no, you're not going to do. Sure, they're going to go right along with it because they're equal jackasses. They're a mob running the country. Okay, a bunch of fucking wannabes. That's what they are. And none of them has any fucking brains at all in between them. They don't care, and they're shutting everybody up that does care about what's going to happen. They don't want to hear it. And the Democrats, with their endless investigations, ought to know that by the time they finish these investigations, there may not be anything left. Okay? It's time to stop investigating and start sending out the cops to start making arrests. Okay? This has got to happen now. There's no more time. There's no more fucking time. So, like I said, this has gotten to the point where you either shit or get off the pot. You know, the Democrats, this man has committed so many crimes, you will never be done investigating this guy, ever. Okay, but there's enough evidence that I know they have enough already just to get him removed from office if they decide to jump on it. Okay, so why are we waiting? Let's go to a commercial break.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Da 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 da.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back, everybody. So I have an article here I want to read from The Guardian, and I don't know how many people really read The Guardian or anything like that, but this story deals with a brand new bridge that just been finished being built that connects Canada to the United States, I think in Michigan. Well, they were supposed to have a big let me see if I can show you the picture of this bridge. Okay. Whoops. Okay. God damn. Why can't they just see that? You know. You know, anyway, there's always a glare. I don't know what the hell does that. Okay. Trump recently put a 50% tariff increase on Canada. That pissed them off. Just when they were fixing to have a ribbon cutting ceremony for this bridge that they just finished. It took years for them to build this, by the way. Now they want to cancel that celebration because of that tariff, the new tariff. So let me read this here. Written by Olivia Bowden and agencies. I don't know why they say that. Okay. A planned joint U.S.-Canada ceremony on Friday celebrating the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting Detroit and Windsor, Ontario, is no longer expected to take place after Trump announced a 50% tariff on most Canadian goods. In announcing the tariffs, the president accused Canada of unfairly discriminating against U.S. automobiles, alcohol, and dairy products, escalating tensions with one of the United States' closest allies. Quote, in light of trade action threatened by the United States earlier this week, it would be inappropriate to proceed with a celebratory event between the two countries, unquote, said Jenna Chasube, a spokesperson for Canada's infrastructure minister, Gregor Robertson, in an emailed statement. The move came after U.S. and Canadian officials reached an agreement earlier this month to open the bridge after delays tied to disagreements between the two countries. Excuse me. Canada now plans to hold its own ceremony on Friday. It is now unclear whether the United States will hold a separate ceremony. The two officials, U.S. officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity, always anonymity, to discuss international deliberations, said they still expected the bridge to open to traffic on July 27th, but were less certain than they were before. Quote, we remain committed to opening the bridge on July the 27th and to celebrating this milestone among Canadians on July 24th, unquote, said Gaspe. And the 1.5 mile long bridge spans the Detroit River and connects Detroit with Windsor. A ribbon cutting ceremony had initially been scheduled for June 12th, but was abruptly postponed after the officials said the United States and Canada were still working to resolve outstanding issues. Canada financed construction of the bridge under an agreement following it to recover the costs through toll revenue. The Trump administration had sought changes to that arrangement. The Mark Carney government had been tight-lipped on the details of the agreement, but late on Tuesday it shared the terms of the deal after criticism was leveled by members of parliament from opposition parties who accused the government of being obfuscatory. Okay. The agreement states that Canada will share 50% of net bridge and crossing related revenues with an economic development fund that is controlled by the U.S. government. Those terms seem to contradict statements the Prime Minister had previously made about the deal. On July the 16th, the Prime Minister said at an unrelated press conference that toll revenues would not be split until Canada was repaid. The project, negotiated under former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder, has been under construction since 2018 and cost nearly $4.4 billion. The bridge is named after the Canadian hockey great Gordie Howe, who spent 25 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings. It is expected to become another major economic artery between Canada and the United States. Well, Trump's been cutting that artery off quite a bit here. In February, Trump demanded in a social media post that Canada give the U.S. government at least half ownership of the bridge and agree to other unspecified demands, part of his broader clashes with Canada over trade. Those tensions resurfaced this week. The White House said the tariffs would take effect in 30 days, leaving time for negotiations. Trump had previously delayed or backed away from some threatened import taxes. Carney said in a statement about the tariffs that his government believes in the benefits of free and fair trade and remains prepared to negotiate with the Trump administration. The tariffs could escalate into a broader trade war as Canada weighs how to respond. Quote, if these tariffs proceed, Canada should respond tariff for tariff, dollar for dollar, unquote, Ontario's Premier Doug Ford posted on social media. Yeah, so you see what's going on. Trump's going to ruin that. And it's almost I mean, I've been reading some comments from people, from readers and stuff like that, you know, especially the Canadian commenter, and they have absolutely no more love for this country, okay? They would just assume they tear that bridge down after they just spent over $4 billion putting it up. Now there's talk about, let's get rid of this motherfucker. If the United States doesn't want to deal with us, you know, fairly, and all they want to do is hit us in our wallets, then why should we be linked to that? Why? Okay? So, yeah, I mean, I can't blame them for that. Now that they got this bridge open, Trump figures, oh, now they can't back out of anything now because they spent all their money building this thing. If I was Canada, said, well, since we paid for the fucking bridge, the whole thing, we're just going to bomb the fucking bridge down, and then, you know, you guys can figure out what to do after that. But, you know, it's our property because we spent all the money on it. Okay? And we can just smash this bridge apart and there won't be any fucking artery because you've been choking the chicken here all this time since you took office. So why the hell why should we feel obligated to, you know, do any trade with you? The bridge was there for a reason, okay? But now you gutted the whole fucking spirit of why we put that bridge together, and frankly, if we were asked to build one now, we would have said no, okay? So you see how Trump just shits on everything. You know, nothing this man ever does results in anything good. Only for him. If there's any good to be made out of what he does, it's only going to benefit him and him alone. The rest of us, you know, who cares? You know, you don't care about anybody. And everybody knows this. Everybody around the world knows what Trump is. They know now. They fucking know now. Okay? And there's no doubt. No fucking doubt in their mind, you know, how they think Trump is going to react to certain things. Just like I know that Trump is going to happily step right into the fucking sandbox overseas and get us involved in some a bloodbath we haven't seen since World War II. Okay? That's where we're headed, folks. You know, And you can forget the other countries helping us out with that. Okay, because Trump has spent enough time pissing everybody off in the world, they ain't gonna fucking feel obligated to do anything to help us. We're going to suffer these losses alone. Okay? And I wouldn't be surprised if there are countries out there that will ally themselves with Iran that they didn't have before because they hate America so much now. They just might get in bed with Iran and start, you know, pushing our forces out. You know? A year and a half, folks. A year and a half. It's all it took for this fucking guy. And in a year and a half, nobody's done anything to stop him. You see what happens when the good don't do anything to stop the bad? The bad dominates very quickly because it's only got one goal. Okay? Self-annihilation. And when good people do nothing, okay, this is why we end up in fucking disasters. And I'm, you know, talking about those Democrats who are wasting time and money on these endless fucking investigations into Trump and everybody that's associated with him, okay? The Epstein files should have been the one thing that would have got him impeached and kicked out of office so he could spend the rest of his miserable life in prison. But no, that's not where we're going to go after on Pete Hegseth. We're going to go investigate Pam Bondi. We're going to investigate this one and that one and the whole fucking... By the time they're done investigating, folks... Boom! It's going to be too fucking late. It's going to be too fucking late. Okay? There has to be a quick end to this now before, you know, the justice system is always slow. And Trump has got his fingers in the justice system. So we can't trust that anything is ever going to come out of that. So there's only one other way left. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Okay? There's only one other way left. Okay? And like I said, I feel like, you know, the Democrats have failed us. This, you know, with this problem here with Trump. They've failed us. Everybody. I don't care who they are, you know, AOC, any of these fucking people, okay? I don't care. You failed us. You failed the country. You let this man reign and dump shit all over the world. You let this man create one fucking scandal after another every day of the week since he's been in there. And you guys are constantly playing catch up when you should take what you already have about this guy and get him out. Okay? I don't care about the excuses. Yeah, the right wing's going to stop in our way. MAGA's not going to, you know, Trump's got people. I don't care. I don't care. You know? Yeah, it's going to cost you to get rid of the sitting king, but you got to take and pay the price. Okay? You got to pay the fucking price. That's your job. You know, if you didn't want to get involved in some dirty shit with a sitting president, you never should have ran for the seat you got. But now the time has come, and you got to make the call. You got to do it. The ball is in your court. Either kick that motherfucker back over the net or do nothing. Okay, so I don't know. You know, the country's anxiety against Trump is building to points that we haven't seen for a long time in America. To points, I think, even dwarfs Richard Nixon when he was president towards the end there, how the country felt about him. I think it's gotten worse this time. There's very few people that are behind Trump now. A lot of MAGA has changed their mind about him now. There's still MAGA out there, okay? But they're even a smaller minority than they used to be, okay? And there's a lot of people whose lives have been directly impacted by him and his administration or his regime, okay, by the things that he's done. These people are not waiting to see Trump removed from office. They want it done now, okay? The people that have died already because of him, that's too many. That's too many. He made a mistake. The people in Washington that serve under him know this. They won't say it publicly. That's why they're always anonymous. okay, because they're afraid that Trump's going to do something to them, okay, but the fear that Trump might do something to them should be the least thing they have to worry about, because the big worry is what's he going to do next? What's he going to do that's going to bring about, you know, misery on a global scale? Is your personal safety worth millions of people's personal safety? Stop being selfish, okay? People who did nothing during all this will be remembered. People who wasted an opportunity to do something will be remembered, okay? These people here, history will regard them with... I mean, why do you think there's such a movement out there for democratic socialism right now? Because these people have given up on both parties, okay? They really have. That's the reason why this is happening. People are wondering, oh, you know, if you vote Democrat socialists into office, you're getting nowhere, okay? Well, you're giving people no other choice, because those people are telling it like it is. That's what they want to hear, because what you guys are talking about is not what's on people's mind. What the Republicans are talking about is more the same shit that we want to get away from, okay? So if you guys, the Democrats, aren't going to talk and do what we expect them to you to do to reverse this, then the people over here are the ones we want, okay? Those are the people that are going to win seats. And I think both parties are scared shitless about that. That's why, for the first time in a long time, these two parties are coming together to stop people, you know, that speak like Bernie Sanders and all that from getting into power. They don't like that, because they know that these folks are going to go after the corporations, the people who are responsible for the corruption that we now have to live with in our government. They have manipulated things far too often. And, you know, anybody that you know, that speaks on the level with people and tells them exactly what they understand, because they know what's happening to you, the workers, you know, the people in this country. They know how this is impacting you, and so they understand better than people in DC understand what needs to be done. I mean, when was the last time you got a knock on the door from your sitting congressman right now, or your sitting senator right now? Have they ever contacted you to ask you how you're doing or anything like that? Have they ever done anything like, you know, look at polling to find out where people are hurting the most? I mean, it seems to me like a lot of that stuff just gets sucked under the radar, and nobody there seems to understand. They're only focused on, oh, investigate, you know, and chastise somebody like Pete Hegseth in front of cameras in a hearing that's going to end up doing nothing anyway. They're wasting their time with these little tiny tit-for-tat fucking practices here, okay? And people want results. They're sick of this fucking little game, okay? While Trump is still sitting on high in the office, doing criminal things, creating war crimes, committing personal crimes, and protecting criminals, like them two guys that got arrested this week. Well, I can't remember their names now, but these two people were folks who campaigned with Trump, and now they got arrested and sent to UK or something like that. I can't remember. They were like misogynists, these two folks. They had their own fucking webpage, and they used to talk shit about women all the time. Well, now they're gone. They got accused for a shitload of crimes now, including child pornography and all kinds of stuff. Well, now UK wants them, so they're trying to extradite them back to UK. But anyway, that's what everyone's talking about, and not really the thing that they should be talking about, because we already know that all of Trump's friends are basically perverts, for a lack of a better word, okay? We already know this, all right? So, yeah. And I feel like, you know, we really need to stop wasting our time, you know, picking the branches and stuff off of this tree. We need to just start taking the axe out and going right for the trunk. You know, take the root out in the whole 9 yards. And that means, you know, The Democrats need to gather up everything they've got, and I know it's considerable, and just present this. I mean, how are they going to deny it? How are they going to stop it? I mean, with that much shit that they got on Trump already, I mean, come on. You know goddamn well they'd have a grounds to start impeachment, okay? And anybody who tries to prevent that is going to be looking at being accused of accomplices after the fact. You know, like Mike Johnson. His name ought to be in that list. I mean, they have to line up the entire regime, okay? The whole fucking thing. The crimes are that extensive. It ain't just, I mean, Trump is, yeah, he's the center of it. But everybody else that's been covering his ass, they're all part of it too. So that means the whole administration is going to have to be taken out, okay? In a trial like that, everybody. That's why I'm saying, why wait, okay? Why fucking wait? And, you know, I just, it seems to me like right now, these investigations are really moot at this point, because I think most Americans already know this fucking guy is corrupt to the core, and he's done a lot of crimes and should be in jail already. We're already ahead of the fucking Congress and their investigations. What we don't want to see any more fucking hearings or anything like that. You're beating a dead horse, Democrats. We already fucking know. We are convinced. If you're wondering, yes, we are convinced Trump is a criminal. Okay, so you don't need to dig so deep now anymore. You got enough. You really have enough, okay, to put this guy out of office. Okay, there should be no doubt about that. So, you know, you need to focus on that step now and stop with the investigations. You're making us pay for all that. At the same time, it's costing us goddamn money to constantly investigate a criminal we already know is a criminal. So, anyway, that's it for today. So I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Subscribe, comment, share, and you know, keep your ears out for health-related issues. And be helpful to one another out there. Times like these, things are, like I said, are going to get worse, as they have been all along. You know, I don't know where the bottom is on this, but I think by the time we hit it, we're going to know it. And we're going to know it in a big way. So I would hope people would stop burying their head in the sand and get prepared. Get prepared, okay? Take this time right now where you're not touched yet by what Trump is doing, and prepare yourself. Prepare your kids, all right? Don't let them go into the military. That's what, you know, basically, you know, right now they would just be sacrificial pawns in this little game that Trump's playing with the world here, and he don't care. It'd be different if you had a president that cared, but this one doesn't. So now's not a time for our young to even join the military. So talk them out of it, okay? I wouldn't go in there right now, no matter how desperate times were, okay? Because I know I'd never come home again, you know. So, you know, please help each other out. And I'll talk to you later.